Hello, everyone. My name is Lin Huynh. I'm the founder and host of Fan to Fame. We're here today with a very special guest, former All-American cornerback at Duquesne University and 9-year NFL vet, Leigh Bodden. Happy New Year's, Leigh. How you doing?
I'm great, man. Happy New Year to you too, man.
I appreciate it. How's it been treating you so far?
Oh man, I mean, it's been 6 days of heaven, man. You know what I'm saying? I can't really complain. Like I've been telling everybody, I've been winning every single day, so I'm like 6-0, man.
There you go. There you go.
Yeah,
Friends always joke with me. They're like, it's a new year, be all hype. I'm like, it's another day to get better. I'm just blessed to be alive. I'm blessed to be
man.
happy. And that's all I need. You just need your health. You got everything right there. So like that's what I want
Yeah,
every day.
yeah, every single day, man. Healthy, happy. I mean, that's really what it is, happiness. You know what I
Yep,
mean? And I'm happy every single day, and that's what I try to strive to be, and strive for everybody around me to be happy. So
absolutely.
yeah,
I
that's why I'm
appreciate that,
winning, man.
man. I got that vibe when I met you about a month ago. So it's definitely working, bro. Appreciate that.
Yeah, yeah. I appreciate it, man.
Yeah. So as we reflect back how everything started for you, we're from the DC area right now. I'm based in Central Virginia. I know you're in Prince George's County. You grew up in
Yeah.
DC, moved to Prince George's County, right outside of DC, which grooms a lot of tremendous athletes. But how did football start for you?
Oh man, football started for me when I moved to Maryland.
Okay.
Um, I moved to Greenbelt, Maryland, in an apartment, and the apartment complex right above me had the head coach of, the Boys and Girls Club. And so the coach told my stepfather and my mom to bring me out to, play football. And, I had never played organized football. And so I was excited when they said that. And so, I mean, I just went out there and, 10 years old. So that's when it started, when I moved to Maryland.
Did you, being from the area, did you grow up rooting for Redskins by any chance? What they
Oh
call
yeah,
a
of
Washington football
course,
team?
100%. It wasn't the football team; it was the
That's what I'm saying. The
Redskins. You know
Redskins
what
at the
I'm saying?
time. I'm just trying to be
Yeah,
politically correct. That's
yeah.
all.
I mean, those days of being politically correct. In my book, I ain't. I don't need to do it. I mean, that's what it was. So that's what I was a fan of, the Redskins. So I mean, they are what they are now, but. And I understand it, what I mean, offending people, but that's what it was called. So I'm just
Right.
gonna call it that. But yeah, I grew up, man. Art Monk, you know, um, Ricky Sanders, Gary Clark,
The posse.
Ernest Biner, Doug Williams, Mark Rippon, even, what I'm saying? Like all these
Yeah.
names, from the Redskins, Ricky Irvin, loved them, man. So I was really, Redskins fan. Obviously, when you a little kid, especially growing up, you like want to play for them.
Right.
But then, kind of skipping all the way, like when I got to the league, I knew it was like it's like a hassle kind of when you play for your home team because you got to get a bunch of tickets and
Oh
you know what I'm
yeah.
saying, a bunch of requests and you want to stay focused. So I'm sure it's hard to stay focused when you're in a hometown where you got a lot of friends, families, trying to, get to a game or see you and you gotta have your 100% focus on football, during that season. So I'm sure it's hard, and the guys, they do it, so it can be done. But especially when you're young, I know I probably couldn't have handled it, but I'm glad that I went, all the way to Cleveland, my first, 5 years. So it was just a cool time.
Hey, that ties up to it makes me think about Kevin Durant. Everyone's like, "You're from the area. Why don't you want to play here?" That's exactly probably why. It's just
Yeah,
all that pressure. Just want to get away sometimes. Sometimes it's nice just to get away, right, and be able to focus.
exactly. And that's really what it's about. I mean, so you can just focus because, when you are from an area, in the back of your mind, you don't want to like brush those people off and
Right.
then feel like you're like too big for them or something like that. You know what I'm saying? And then that's how they'll feel. But it's not that. It's like I gotta focus on this. And sometimes people don't understand that and just want to be in a, for lack of better term, just selfish with them saying, oh man, how come you don't want to hang out with me? Or how come you don't want to do this and that? That's what we used to do. But, it's something that, a guy has to focus on to be, a better player. You gotta elevate your game and, lock in and stay focused and put all your time into that. So, I'm sure it's difficult, you know what I mean? But like I said, in the back of a human brain, it's like damn, they probably think I'm, stuck up now or this and that and the third. And so you don't want to have
Right.
those battles in your head. You just want to be clear-headed, focused on the job at hand. So like you said, just getting away is always good.
No, I definitely hear you 100% on that. Well, thinking about like your high school days, you went to DeMatha, which is one of the elite high schools, not only in this area, but this whole country. So evidently, you did well in football, went to Duquesne. Can you talk about the story, like what led you to Duquesne?
Yeah, man. I could just work backwards, I guess, or whatever. I don't know how I'm gonna do it, but I mean, what led me to Duquesne was just not being heavily recruited, I would say, in high school, because I went to DeMatha, like you said, my freshman and sophomore year. I didn't get barely any playing time my sophomore year. I didn't play my freshman year at DeMatha because of nerves, because I, wasn't sure if I was good enough. You know what I mean? So I just didn't even go off of football. Second year, I was like, man, listen, I want to go to the league. So the only path is to play. You know what I'm saying? So I had to just go out for the team. Um, they had their players that they moved up from freshman to JV. And, I didn't get much playing time. So I knew I had to leave because I knew I was good enough to play, you know what I mean? But
Right.
it just wasn't happening. And I feel like it was going to happen my next year, my junior year. So I had to leave, went to Northwestern High School, which is, I mean, they were terrible. Like, I don't even know if they won a game previous years. You know what I'm saying? No, I'm not even lying to you. So historically, they were bad. And, my junior year, we weren't good. We won 3 games. But then my senior year, we like exploded onto the scene. We were 1 game away from the state finals. And that's when we kind of got a lot of notoriety that season. But, colleges, they already recruiting you sophomore, junior year. You already accepting letters your senior year or offers, your senior year. So this is when they just hearing about Leigh Bodden and hearing about Northwestern High School. So, I ain't have really much colleges coming at me. So I just went and shot my VHS tape. You know what I'm saying? Here, and I
You're
still
taking it
got
back
some
now.
of them. I still got some of them. I was shot my VHS tape to some colleges up in Pennsylvania, and few colleges bit, and then I was like, all right, I'll go to Duquesne. And because Duquesne was a good academic school, so I was like, if I don't play in the league, at least I got a good education to fall back on. But my number one goal was to be in the league.
Absolutely.
So that's what led me to Duquesne, like not being very highly touted high school, not being good. And then, kind of doing my own thing, shot my own tape. It wasn't no huddle, you know what I mean? Back then, it was no nothing. It was like,
oh yeah,
that's how you had to shop yourself.
No, it's not like today, right? Social media is available. Like, reaching out to coaches you want to, really Twitter,
right,
Facebook, whatever it is, right? It's easy
email.
Now, back when you played, coaches had to be in the stands. They had recruits right there. So it was hard to get exposure. It's a different time.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, it was different times. It was hard to get exposure back then. If you weren't like in the major papers and people weren't, necessarily knowing who you were, colleges weren't really coming. And if your high school wasn't known to be good, what they coming for? You know what I'm saying? So, and then even if you're playing a guy that's, really good, that scout isn't going to go to that game. They want to see him against, good competition. You know what I'm saying? So, so it's tough to get some exposure, especially at that time. You know what I mean? Because like you said, coaches, it wasn't like that. And it wasn't no email, wasn't no Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, reaching out to them. It wasn't none of that. So you probably had to write a letter.
Hey, do what you need to do, right?
Right. But I did what I had to do, and it landed me in a place where I needed to be, and it worked out for me.
You mentioned about reaching out to schools in Pennsylvania. Did you reach out to Maryland at all? With literally University of Maryland in the backyard. Yeah,
so they were in the backyard, and they heard about me, obviously, because of the season we had. Maryland is right there.
Yeah, right.
Northwestern High School is in Hyattsville, Maryland. College Park is the next city over from Hyattsville, so it's right there, literally. But so They did. I think I did give them my tape, and they liked it, but they wanted me to be a recruiter walk-on, and like do Prop 48 or something like that, and
Right.
so sit out a year and then come back because I don't think my SAT score was that great to get into Maryland, and all of that. So, but I didn't want to sit out a year because I was like, I wanted to keep getting better, and I felt like I could still play at the next level because that's the confidence I had in myself. So
Absolutely.
I felt like that was going to hurt me. You know what I mean? Sitting out a year. So I felt like I needed to just play again. So I didn't, take that offer. And so I just went on to Duquesne again. So that's why, Maryland wasn't the case. But to be honest, after my freshman year at Duquesne, like I was going to take that offer. You know what I mean? I was going to go and walk on because I just felt like if I played one season in Maryland, I would go to the league. And, playing against ACC schools and the competition, all I felt like I needed was 1 year to show and prove that I could play, at a high level.
I'm glad you brought that up because that literally was running to my mind while you're speaking, and just knowing your history. Duquesne, a great Division I school. You had a great. I mean, he broke almost every record there, right? 2-time All-American, Defensive Player of the Year, 28 interceptions, which I believe at the time was like second in nation in AA. So I mean, you literally did everything, right? So my question would have been, even now, is did you kind of answered is you kind of considered transferring, but why didn't you? What motivated you to stay at Duquesne?
Well, yeah. I mean, obviously, I consider transferring, after my first year, because the competition wasn't that good, and I didn't play as much as I felt like I should have. It was a senior and a junior ahead of me, so I understand it. But I feel like I was better than them. You know what I mean? And some of the coaches felt the same way, and they would tell me on the bus to kind of keep my spirits up because they seen sometimes I was like would be down. But I still ended up with 3 interceptions actually that freshman year. But again, so I felt like, man, I'm killing that competition whenever I play. So, you know what I mean? I need some better competition.
Right.
And then, like I said, I felt like even if I played here, they're gonna be like, well, so what? You played against these guys.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, can you play in the league? So I did consider transferring, but what made me stay was my head coach, Coach Gattuso. I still talk to that man to this day, man. I really thank him almost every single time that I see him and we text. He's now the coach at University of Albany. Okay. But he talked to me. He was like, Leigh, we're going to, predicate the defense on you. We're going to make you, like the focus of our defense. He put me on the best receiver every time we played a team, whoever their best receiver was. And that gave me the opportunity to get a lot of interceptions and a lot of chances, to highlight my playing ability. So that was one of the reasons too that I stayed because of Coach Gattuso and that talk that he had with me and my parents, and just letting them know that that's what was going to happen. And then he held up, his word, and so I love him for that. And then again, he let me be me, to be honest. And if I would have went to Maryland, I'll tell you what, like I might not have made it. You know what I mean? Because being who I am, I'm like sometimes I'll say, what I feel, and I'll stand up for a teammate. I stand up for people. And if things ain't being done the right way, I feel like I got to say something, you know what I mean? Regardless of, my status on the team or whatever. But sometimes, I know how to play a role too, you know what I mean? Because I wanted to get where I wanted to go in the league. But I'm just saying, Coach Gattuso just allowed me to be me. We butted heads a little bit, you know what I mean? But he was that type of player. So he understood that, how to handle that type of player.
Right.
So, I love that man for that, man.
I think you kind of touched on it earlier too, is, and at the NFL level, a lot of the coach and the recruits and scouts, they probably knocked on you a little bit, despite all the accolades, just because you went to Duquesne, because it was like a power conference. Do you think in today's game, would it be different even if you went to Duquesne? Do you think you would have been drafted and got more recognition?
That's a good question, man. That's a good question. I think I would have got drafted. If today I did what I did,
right,
right now, today, I'm getting drafted because of, like you said, social media. Like, I'd have been all over social media. You know what I mean? They'd have been like, who is this guy? You know what I mean? He's got this, that, Rasheem Mathis was actually doing the same thing in Bethune-Cookman. That's who's number one.
Mm-hmm.
He came out the same year as me. So he's got 30 interceptions career. And his senior year, our senior year, I think he had 12 picks to get 30. Like, it was crazy. But that type of battle could have just been, put on social media or highlighted somehow, some way, and looking at the race of trying to, be number one, in college history. You know what I'm saying? So the storyline of that would have just been huge. And I'll tell you, Coach Chuck Pagano, who was the defensive back coach for Cleveland, he came to Duquesne. He worked me out. But before he did, he called me on the phone and he asked me how many interceptions I had. And I told him 28. He was like, shit. He was like, no wonder everybody talking about you. You know what I'm saying? So he didn't even know. But during this time, he would have knew. You know what I'm saying? So I think just that, you know what I mean? Because more and more people would have seen it and seen my highlights, seen really what I did. I remember one coach too. I forgot his name. He was a coach for San Diego. He was watching my highlight tape. Again, it was on VHS. He told me this. He was like, I'm not gonna lie to you. Jerry Holmes, that was his name. He was like, I'm not gonna lie to you. He's like, I was watching your tape and I was falling asleep. I mean, because he said it was the middle of the night. But he said, when you intercepted that option pitch, he was like, I woke up and just watched the whole rest of it. Yeah, he was like, I couldn't believe it. You know what I mean? So, I did some things, in college that was kind of, worthy of noticing and like, wow, you know what I mean? So I think, again, during this time, I probably would have got drafted. Because a guy that I played against, and I shut him down, he only had 2 catches it was in the teens. He had got drafted in the 6th round. And that was the 2002 draft, I believe. And again, I was a junior, he was a senior. And I, had him on lockdown pretty much. And he got drafted. So I thought I was going to get drafted. Mm-hmm. But again, it just didn't happen. But this day and age, I really think I would.
Honestly, bro, that was like a rhetorical question because you definitely would have got drafted. I just want to get your thoughts because, you look at it now. Look at the quarterback position, right? One of the most important positions in the game. Look at the quarterbacks such as Wentz, right? He went to a AA, right? You see guys from JMU getting drafted, AA. So you definitely would have. But I definitely want to get your thoughts on that because I know that's something I would think about. When you think about your 9-year career, again, that's remarkable for any player, but especially for someone who wasn't drafted. And even when we were chatting back for a couple of nights ago, I was like, the average year of a lifespan of a career is 3 years for NFL players. So what you did was amazing, right? But there was also a lot of ups and downs along the way, especially early on in your career playing for Cleveland and playing for Detroit Lions. Kind of the same question about Duquesne. What made you stay there? Because some folks would have been like, okay, I'm going to do a year or 2 here, get my feet in. And after that, I'm going to ask for a trade. I'm going to move on somewhere else. What made you stay there or not demand for a trade and so forth?
Stay with Cleveland?
Cleveland and Detroit, yeah. Or you stayed for Detroit for a year, but mainly for Cleveland.
Yeah, well, first of all, it's a business, you know what I mean? So I can't really just up and leave, but you can force some things. And I'm telling you, to be honest, that's how damn near I got out of every situation. It was my fault, I guess, you know what I mean? Just a quick story on Cleveland, how I left was because in 2005, I signed an extension. And a lot of guys, veteran guys, were telling me, Leigh, you're going to be underpaid in 2 years of this contract. You know what I mean? And I was like, man, I don't care because I was undrafted and I didn't get a lot of money. Mm-hmm. So they handed me a lot of money on this extension in my first year. So, again, we know football, you can get injured, anything can happen. Right. So why turn down, millions of dollars? Absolutely. You know what I mean? And it was millions where I feel like, okay, I can work with this. Mm-hmm. So I took that deal, and then now, so the 3rd year was coming up, and I was going to be underpaid. So I went to the GM and showed him my stats. From the 2 years that I played under that contract, I was top 10 in every category. And then I showed him the list of top 10 players that was getting paid, and I wasn't up there. But then I wasn't even in the top 25. I was at the 32nd corner getting paid. So again, in the 64 corners in the league, and I'm 32nd, and I'm top 10 in stats. So I just felt like, man, just bump me up a little bit. And I told him I wasn't asking for top 10 money, but just, give me a little bit more money. But they were like, nah, well, just wait a year. The GM was saying, Phil Savage, wait a year. We just signed you, 2 years ago. Just wait one more year. And I just told him, like, no. I told him it was a slap in my face to wait another year. And I was like young. I probably should have said that.
Like you said, you speak your mind, like you said.
Yeah, and it wasn't malicious or anything, but I said it. It just came out. It wasn't like I was like yelling at him like that's a slap. I just felt like
you knew what you deserved, though. You know what you deserve, and what you bring.
Yeah. So and again, Romeo Crennel was in that meeting. Romeo expressed his want for me, and he was like, "Man, we want you here. No matter what happens, I want you here." But I got traded in that offseason, to Detroit. Yeah. You know what I mean? And then I got to Detroit. Then Detroit, they didn't even know I wanted a new contract. So they, this business stuff is crazy. So they acted like, I'm going to play under this contract. I was like, I'm not playing under this contract. I was like, that's why, I was got traded, because I was unhappy with the contract. I don't want to play under that. And so they reworked it, but they didn't rework it to where it kicked in that year. It kicked in the next year.
Okay.
But then, so the 08 season happened, 0-16.
Yeah.
And I told the GM, which was Martin Mayhew, I was like, man, this organization ain't really going to be good until the top, starts changing, because it trickles down, because I've been to Cleveland. Cleveland isn't the greatest team, but it's a great organization. Great locker room, great, a lot of things. But with Detroit, it wasn't that. And I didn't feel that, the way it was in Cleveland. And so I just spoke my mind to him, and really, because I didn't want to go back. I mean, to be honest, I was owed like $11 million the next year. I didn't even want to, bro. And people will look at it like it's crazy. I wouldn't even want to play for an organization like that, even if I'm getting paid $11 million, because it's just draining my energy. You know what I mean? And like, I ain't happy. The money ain't gonna make. I want to play, and I want to be happy. It's the concept of it.
It's the concept of it. Yeah.
Right. So I didn't care. You know what I mean? So I expressed how I felt. Even in the media after the game, the last game of the season. Like I was saying some stuff in the media that the coaches probably didn't like, but I mean, shit, they got fired anyway. But they were mad at me. They was like, Leigh, why you saying all this, Leigh? I was like, cause it's true.
Yeah.
They asked me. You know what I mean? Because somebody, I guess one of the reporters or one of the people that work with Detroit, they ran upstairs to go tell the coaches that I was like, airing things out. And I was like, so what? The season's over. Like, who cares? Everybody, y'all gonna get fired. We're all like, who cares?
Yeah.
But then so they released me, and then Bill Belichick was calling my agent, and then I ended up in New England.
I definitely want to get to that point for sure. But during your time in Cleveland and with the Detroit Lions, I think this is a good lesson learned for the youth, because this is a big reason why I put this podcast together, is because there's a lot of guys out there, very talented, just a lot of talented people out there, but it's about the mental state of how do you stay focused? Are you around the right people and so forth? But with that all being said, how did you stay focused? Because I think a lot of kids in each generation too, it's just like they'll just give up, right? I think commitment is a big challenge nowadays. But what, despite everything, I know it's a job, I know it's a business, but what kept you motivated each and every day? Because you started about every year and everything, so you were still focused. What kept you motivated, and how did you do it? Most importantly,
I mean, what kept me motivated was just I would say, man, that little kid in me, of wanting to get to that level. and then wanting to stay at that level and wanting everybody that through my path, I wanted everybody to see that, you know what I mean? Like, let's just say the people at DeMatha, like that didn't feel like I was good enough. I wanted y'all to see me at the highest level as long as possible.
Right.
You know what I mean? To say, you know, look, this is what you passed up. You know what I mean? So that's really what kept me focused, kept me the drive and the love, man, the love of the game. I love the game. I love playing it. You know what I mean? It's like Tom Brady. He don't want to stop playing. Like nobody wants to stop playing that game, you know, but injury and Father Time just will make you stop playing. But I just wanted it so bad. You know what I mean? I wanted it bad enough. And that's what some kids like, and people say they want something so bad, but are you willing to do everything it takes to get what you want? You know? And then now when you get it, are you going to keep going and do even more?
That's the hardest part, right?
It's
not only getting it, but sustaining it. That's the hard part right there. Yeah.
You want to know why? Because it's going to be more people like Leigh Bodden. You know, it's going to be more Leigh Boddens that's undrafted that's coming for my spot. So guess what? I know that. So I know how hard I got to work, you know what I mean? And what I got to do to stay here, you know what I mean? And so it's always, sometimes it's good to, again, be at the bottom because, I mean, that's why sometimes you hear and you call them busts, you know, and I don't even want to use that word, but it's like, a lot of times you're always like through boys club, Pop Warner, high school, college, you was the man. And then even in the pros, you were first round pick, you the man. And then when adversity hit, it's like, man, I don't know what the fuck to do. Excuse my language. You know what I'm saying? But I don't know what to do. I don't know what to do. So it's like, some people don't know how to face adversity because they've been at the top so long. But when you always scratching at the bottom, man, you know what it feel like. So you always scraping, and you know what it took for you to get here. And it's another guy just like you somewhere that's ready to, you know, take your spot. So that's what kept me going, man.
You hyping me up, bro. Because that's honestly my mindset too, being like outside of sport, being like a first generation here from Vietnam. My parents came here from a communist country, you know, they literally had nothing. So for me to see what they've accomplished and like, you know, what they did for me is like, if they can do that, I got to take it to the next level. And that's why, you know, even at work, people are like, why are you willing to put that extra hour? And I was like, you know what? Like my parents would have done anything to be where I'm at now. So I'm looking out for what I've been through and people around me, you know, because I could be replaced any day now. And I don't take anything for granted, right? So that's always been my mindset, bro.
Right. And like you said, man, putting in that extra hour, that extra time, because, and that's one thing we know, that's what you can't get back. You know what I'm saying? Absolutely. You can't get time back. And so once you're in it, you know, you got to exhort like all the energy and put all the time and energy again into whatever you're doing, because it's going to pass you by, you know what I mean? But then it's also going to help the future you. And like one of the dudes who always, man, and I loved him, Willie McGinnis, he used to always love doing extra in the weight room. He was like, oh, you leaving? He was like, oh, I'm just in here getting extra abs in. And so it makes you just go back in there like, all right, I'm with it. You know what I'm saying? Yep. So it's like, and then like you said, being around like-minded people, but then again, having people push you, but then taking that extra time to go ahead and put more time into your craft and what you're doing. It's only going to help you and benefit you in the long run.
Absolutely. 100%, bro. That's something else that I think is really fascinating during your time with the Browns is that so Duquesne's in Pittsburgh. The Browns, a big rival of the Pittsburgh Steelers. How's that experience come back to Pittsburgh to play? Because you guys played, you know, you were there for a few seasons, so you went there pretty often. So you knew a lot of people there. You spent a lot of time there. How was that experience?
Oh, I loved it. You know, obviously because it's pretty close. Seeing all the Pittsburgh fans, most of those people were Pittsburgh Steelers fans. And, you know, I remember in, what was it? 2002, I think the year before I got to the Browns, Pittsburgh and Cleveland had a playoff game. And I was listening to it on the radio. I remember driving back to school. Cleveland was beating them pretty much the whole game. And then Pittsburgh came back. And so, you know, it's kind of a bit of a rivalry, and because it's close and they're in the division.
Same division.
And so, you when I went to Cleveland, everybody was like, oh man, we ain't going, root for you. Well, they would root for me, but not for Cleveland Browns win. So, but it was always good to go back and just be able to play in front of those people that watched me at Duquesne, at that little stadium. Now they get to watch me because I used to give, people tickets to the games to watch me play, in a bigger arena, bigger stadium with better competition. So it was like giving them, I guess sort of a better experience of just watching me play. It was just good to be able to play in front of those people because I'm sure. They probably didn't think that would even be possible, but so it was just dope to be able to do that and go back to Pittsburgh and play in front of them.
I gotta ask, spending a lot of time in Pittsburgh, Primanti brothers, are you a big fan, man? Because I personally am not. I don't know the hype's about, but
you know what? I don't even know if I had one of them sandwiches, man.
You know what I'm talking about, though, right? Yeah. Nah,
I know, but I don't think I've even had it, to be honest. I may have. I don't really remember. You know what I'm saying? My memory is like shot from them days. It ain't too many things I remember, but I do remember there was just a pizza spot that we used to go to. It was called Milano's. A lot of the guy, because it was a place right off campus. So we used to go there all the time, get like, subs, sandwiches, pizzas, and all that. But so now I don't know. I really don't know. But
okay. I figure you tried it because, but not visited there. And a lot of people I knew there, they're like, you got to try Primanti brothers. So I was like, all right, let me give it a try. And I was like, man, it's nothing special.
It's probably the best thing that they got, maybe. I don't know. You know what I'm saying?
That's why I love our area, bro. It's so diverse. You got all types of food and stuff. So I understand that's a little different, but I wasn't happy. Right. I was like, it's all right.
Yeah, it's a small town. You know what I'm saying? Pittsburgh is a small town. That's why I like it. And I like Cleveland too, because it's like a small knit, kind of community. But like you said, that's what I love about, the DMV area too, is just the diversity that you got, all around it. Whereas, a city like Pittsburgh, it ain't that diverse. So like you said, like having this one place, that's like the best spot, where here in the DMV, it's like, man, pick one. You know what I'm saying? It's a ton of them. Right.
Exactly. You spent time with the Browns, spent time with the Lions, and then you went to New England, like we touched on, which is like a night and day. Was it a priority of yours? Everyone wants to win. Everyone wants to be part of a winning culture, but was it a priority of yours right after leaving the Lions that I need to go to a winning culture? Or were you thinking, I want the money? Like, what was your mindset?
Yeah, I didn't really have a mindset. I just wanted to play, to be honest. 100%, I just wanted to play. And I'll tell you a story even about Cleveland. But my mindset was playing. It wasn't the money. It wasn't like chasing a ring or whatever. Because I'll tell you why it's not about the money. Because I remember just going back in time, right? In 2005, when I told you I got the extension, this is the same year that I was inactive for like 3 games. They sat me on the bench and I was dressed like this on the sidelines. You know what I'm saying? And I was pissed off. And then I had talked to Mel Tucker, which was my defensive back coach that year, because he knew that I was mad. And then he said to me, he was like, well, Leigh, are you getting paid though? The same amount? I was like, yeah, but it ain't about the money. Like, I don't care. Right. You know what I'm saying? But he was genuine because he didn't know, because this was his first year coaching in the NFL. So he didn't know if because I didn't suit up, will my money go down, or, did it stay the same? So it was a genuine question, but I was like, man, I don't care. Like, I don't care about getting paid. I want to play. So again, so fast forward now to, what you're saying, 2008, obviously, coming off that year, it wasn't great, but I wanted another chance to just play football and just show I can, play wherever and, have another good season. Even though people were saying I didn't have a good season because I had 1 interception, but I still played well. You go back and look at tape in the games, and I played in their system. You know what I mean? I did what they wanted me to do. And what else do you want me to do? I'm grading out 90% every game, you know what I'm saying, as far as in my defensive back room and plays. So I played well. But I was fortunate enough to have one of the best teams in the league, inquiring about me.
Right.
So But it was more teams too, and they wanted to sign me to multi-year deals, but it wasn't, the money that I felt like, I needed and wanted. So money was an issue because, I mean, you still gotta, recognize your value. But New England was like, man, we'll just do a 1-year deal. You know what I'm saying? And then I felt like that 1-year deal was just an audition to show everybody in the league that, okay, look, the best team want me. And then I'm gonna play great on the best team. And then, you know what I'm saying? Y'all gonna see I'm the same guy. You know what I'm saying? So 2009, I mean, I had a pretty good season, man. I led the team. Me and Brandon Merriweather, we had 5 picks that year. And I thought 2010 was going to be, another great year for me. But then I got injured in the preseason, and tore my rotator cuff and labrum. So I wasn't able to, play that next season. So, so again, what you were saying, it was just playing football. I didn't care about winning, but obviously it all just, played out because I did want to win though. You know what I mean? Coming from Cleveland and Detroit,
you want to win.
You know what I'm saying? It's like, why not? I ain't never been to the playoffs. It's like, man, you damn near guaranteed to go to the playoffs with New England and maybe win a championship. So, it just fell in my lap like that, I guess.
Hey, everything worked out, man. Everything worked out. But you had to do your part too. So I always tell people that you got to put your part to it, but it's a little luck as well. So, but it worked out for sure. You touched on playoffs for a little bit. With playoffs around the corner, people always say, it's a new season, regular season versus playoffs, different season. How do you interpret that?
I mean, it is. I mean, because you are starting over from scratch. Like your record don't matter. What you did last week don't matter. I mean, that usually always is the case anyway. But and things become more intense as the playoffs roll around. I mean, they're looking at the film, a lot differently. They're going to attack you a lot differently. They're going to know your tendencies too, to be honest, because they got so much film on you. So they're going to know what you're going to do. Yep. And so now it's about, especially when it's cold games, it's about, winning the line of scrimmage, to be honest. And that's any game, to be honest. I don't care what weather it is. So if you can run the ball and protect the quarterback, you're going to have a really good chance of winning. And then, you throw turnovers in that scenario. It's a lot of things that just heighten, man. And guys, mentally, because it's like, man, this is it.
Right.
I want to make it to the Super Bowl. So
the road to the Super Bowl right here.
Exactly. It's one and done. It ain't, we got another game next week. It's not guaranteed. You know what I mean? So it's like it revs everybody up. So, and I was hyped. My first playoff game, I was hyped. I was hyper focused. I was ready to go. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I'm definitely excited about the playoffs. I wish my team behind me, all this Redskins I got, one day we'll be in there. I mean, we made it last year, but I know a lot of people like, we made the playoffs last year, but we didn't, this year we didn't make it. I was like, we went in 7-9, man. We weren't a really good team. We just played in the played in a bad division, right? So again, when you start winning, like, people see it differently, but I'm just like, we weren't too much better last year.
You weren't. But then the crazy thing is you go to the playoffs and then you play Tampa Bay tough. And like you said, the reason why, I mean, you made the playoffs because Dallas, was minus Dak Prescott. So he wasn't there. So those are the years you want to take advantage, but then you run into a Tom Brady team, it's difficult, but playing them well is was definitely good. But then, each season is different. And then, again, Dallas has their guy, they're pretty much healthy, and, Washington isn't. And
exactly
that plays a role in it.
Yep. It's not how you start, it's how you finish. That's how I see that. Based on everything you said about playoffs, again, it's pretty much like a new season. As of right now, I know when we talked a couple of days ago, you're like, I got to see the matchups. But who do you think overall is the best team right now?
Overall, I mean, like you said, I mean, the Packers, as far as we're talking NFC, the Packers in Tampa Bay. Yeah. Because even what's crazy, Tom Brady is crazy. I mean, they down to the Jets, and then he just finds a way. And I was watching the last drive. It's like, how in the world did he do this? You know what I'm saying? What were you thinking on the defensive end? You know what I mean? But is it just Tom Brady? So he does it all the time.
Right.
And so you can never count that man out. So Aaron Rodgers is just like that. So those two would be the favorite. And I would say, man, I swear, man, New England, you can't count them out with Bill Belichick. He's going to have them prepared each and every game to be in a position to win. Kansas City is looking, has been looking up and down this year, but that's a team that, again, all you got to do is win a few games. You know what I mean? And they're a type of team that can win 3 straight. You know what I mean? Tennessee is a tough team. I believe they're at the top right now. I would say if I had to pick one, though, from each, I would say I would still go with Kansas City and I would go with Brady. If I had to pick one. Yeah.
Yeah, I think those are good picks. I'm definitely excited for it. I was rooting for the Ravens too, man. I'm kind of upset about Lamar being injured.
Right? Yeah,
he's electrifying, man. He's electrifying.
Yeah, injuries play a huge part in seasons.
Yeah.
You don't wish that on anybody because, it's tough. That's a team that had hopes to play in the Super Bowl, and I'm sure, right, could have possibly, been in the Super Bowl because of, that man.
Absolutely.
And for that injury to happen, and then
bad timing.
They don't get a chance. Yeah, it's tough, man. It's tough to see that. You hate to see that. You just want to see a year, where nobody's injured and just, play. But it's every year it's going to be somebody significant hurt at some point of the year.
You spoke about Belichick, and I definitely want to talk about Brady a little bit, but going with Belichick, what makes Coach Belichick so special? You kind of said, he gets you ready, but how is he so different compared to everybody else?
From the coaches that I play with, the difference between him is he will in-game adjust immediately. If he don't like something, if he sees something that is going on, especially on the defensive side of the ball, that's all I can really speak of. He will adjust. He don't care what our game plan is. He will adjust. He don't care. You know what I'm saying? And that's what I love about it because everything is situational. You can't just ride it out and just hopefully it's going to work. It ain't been working. They've been driving down the damn field. You know what I mean? Let's switch it up. And I've seen him do it countless games. And is it perfect all the time? No, because sometimes it's like, man, what the hell are you calling? Why are we doing this? It don't make no sense. But to him, it makes sense. And that's one thing that he always says is he's going to do what he feels like is best for the team. And so, again, and we're human, and sometimes it's not right or it doesn't work out. But I respect him, making ballsy decisions and changing things up when he sees fit. And that's, to me, what makes him, a good coach because and he's a student of the game. He knows. I remember one time after a game, he pulled up some 1980 film just to, make his coaching point even stronger, to a play that happened, the game that we just played. So it was just crazy. Right. So I think that's what makes him, one of the best coaches ever.
Yeah, it's definitely about adapting, right? It's just like life too. You're gonna have a lot of these different curves. You might have this plan ahead of you, but something comes your way. You gotta work around it somehow. If you just try to stay in that same path, that might not work. So,
it ain't gonna work.
100%, bro. Coach Belichick. So go ahead.
No, go ahead.
I was gonna say he always seems like a serious guy, right? He wore the same sweater, had that same look. But any good stories from you that people don't know about Coach Belichick?
I don't know stories, but I know he looks like that. And he is like.
Is he always serious? Is he always is that intense?
Nah, he has a sense of humor, man. He really does.
He doesn't look like it. That's why I asked.
Yeah, it's a different sense of humor. But listen, when you look at his press conferences, that shit be making me laugh sometimes. Yeah. How he answers those questions because he know what he's doing. He's a smart man. You know what I mean? And he understands, how to play the role, with the media. And I enjoy it. I enjoy those.
Right.
And I'm sure the media doesn't, because they want more out of him. But
Of course.
you see a different side of him sometimes. He's more business, but he can, crack a little.
He knows how to loosen up
joke
every
here
now
and
and
there.
then.
Right.
Though. Yeah.
Yeah, he's loose, but he don't like it too loose. You know what I mean?
Right.
I remember one time we played the Jaguars, and like it was a timeout, and I think they played some music. I don't know, I forgot what it was. It was like Young Jeezy and all the defense. We were like, getting hyped.
Jeezy's gonna get you hyped, bro. That's what I listen to.
Then they drove down and scored on us. He was like, he motherfucked all of them. He's like, what the fuck? Y'all was out there dancing and shit. And he said, and you made him drive down. I mean, we was blowing him out though, but he just still didn't even want him to, score. And he just felt like our lackadaisical, attitude like made that happen. So again, he gives us that, people some freedom and have some fun, but he likes it more just focused and more like let him at least know that, you're about the business. But, to be honest, sometimes, man, guys are like that and still can play well. So, the balance, I would say it's not where it should be, as far as fun and, seriousness, but he has, the recipe of it and how he likes it and how he wants it. And it works, you know what I mean? So he does, again, so he has a little bit of fun and cracks some jokes in. He'll laugh a little bit and mess around just a little bit, but it's usually mostly business.
Hey, he knows what he's doing, man. So not gonna question him at all. But
yeah, you can.
Of course, the next person I gotta ask when you think about New England or just football in general is Tom Brady. I mean, he's the GOAT in my opinion. Like I told you, anyone that hates on him, I just consider them haters. Like, what's there to hate about this guy? Like, even for me, just watching him, just stand-up guy, he's a winner. He seems really relaxed. He doesn't seem too arrogant or anything. Like, what's there not to like? But what's your experience with Tom Brady and any stories about Tom?
Nah, so I only got really even one just kind of funny story. Like me, I don't know what the quarterback listens to, so like I played with some different type of quarterbacks. So they listen to, different type of music. So I walk in like the training room with Tom and like, it's like a rehab room and he was playing his music. And again, it was like Biggie and R. Kelly. It was like, I forgot the name of the song right now. Yeah. But it was like, how it go, you must be used to me spending. Yeah, I walked in there. I was like, man, what the I was like baffled. I was like, this your song? He's like, yeah, man, listen to it. So, I'm sure his music is diverse, but I ain't,
You didn't expect that, though.
I heard like a quarterback listening to some music like that, a traditional quarterback. So, that was crazy. But I mean, he's so down to earth, man. I remember just after the playoff game when we lost, it just so happened him and I were walking out at the same time. And, my family and friends like, came to the game and they were like, man, asking him to take pictures and like sign stuff. And he was like, cool, with it. I mean, he didn't even, bother. But I mean, I wouldn't expect nothing less. I mean, just of the guy who I saw in the locker room all the time and talked to all the time. And just, he was just one of the guys, man, competitive guy, have fun, talk shit, you know what I mean? And just would talk to whomever, you know what I mean? Just a stand-up dude, man. So I really enjoyed playing with him and just seeing his greatness, again, not only on the field, but in the locker room too.
Are you even surprised yourself about how long he's been playing for and at the level he is? Or is this kind of like, this is Tom Brady?
No, yeah, I mean, you expect it, man. Like, again, seeing how he took care of his body, had Alex all the time with him, always working on his shoulder. I mean, after every practice, before practice, whatever, you know what I'm saying? He working on that shoulder. And as long as he stayed, not getting hit, the offensive line take care of him. I mean, quarterbacks can play a long time, especially him being so smart, him being able to maneuver around the pocket. I mean, everything that he's doing leads him to where he's at, and his eating habits too. So I mean, shit, he might could play till he's 50. If anybody could do it, I would think it was Tom Brady.
That's cool, man. That's really cool perspective. And it's too funny to hear about him listening to Biggie and R. Kelly, because that's the last thing you expected. But that's why he's a smooth dude. He's a smooth dude.
That's the last thing I expected. I walked in there like, what? You know what I'm saying? I'm thinking, I'm dreaming. I'm like, this yours, Tom?
That is too funny.
Couldn't believe it. Yeah.
To summarize Coach Belichick and Tom Brady, what everyone said last year after they won Super Bowl is like, Tom Brady made Coach Belichick. He, kind of demised what Coach Belichick brought. What's your perspective on that?
Well, yeah, I mean, obviously both of them needed each other, but then to see Tom go and do it somewhere else, it's like, okay, well, shit, maybe he didn't need Belichick. But I mean, obviously having a good coach, good quarterback is the great recipe, and building a good team around him. And he Tom went to a very good Tampa Bay team, had a good defense, had a lot of weapons, obviously added Gronk and added AB to the mix. I think Fournette as well.
Yep.
So, you add some pieces. I mean, you put it around him. I mean, he going to win. You know what I mean? He knows how to carve defenses apart. And if you protect him, he's going to carve you apart. I don't care. And then your defense, if it's good, you know what I mean? Even if it's average, damn near, you know what I'm saying? He's going to put some points up to help your defense out, and all you need is a few stops during the game and you got a victory. So, but I think this year now showed, because obviously last year, Belichick didn't have a quarterback.
Right.
And now this year, I mean, he has a rookie quarterback right now. You know what I mean? And he's doing what he's doing. So it just shows the value of both of them.
Right.
You know what I mean? But it shows now putting both of those together. That's why they did what they did. You know what I'm saying? And had to run that they had, because they both can do it without each other, but being together was something magical and spectacular that you probably won't ever see, you know what I mean, in a lifetime. So, I mean, to sum it up, I mean, they're both great, one of the greatest, and they're showing it, and they proved it being apart. But then it shows that, again, how great they were together was just incredible.
Now, that's fascinating to hear about your experience, from when you started in the league undrafted, playing with the Lions, with the Browns, had some rough years there, not to your fault, but just the organization, how it played out. Then you went to New England, played with the Goats. I think you have a very fascinating story. But when you kind of sum it all up and reflect back, when you sit back now, what comes to mind when you think about your NFL career? And what would you tell the young Leigh Bodden at the time coming into the league? What would you say to him?
Well, the one thing that I would tell him is, change your diet, change what you eat, young man, you know what I mean? And that's really the one thing that I would change about, my career. Mm-hmm. But it went the way it went. I wouldn't change anything else, I would say. But as I reflect and look at it, again, like you said, being an undrafted free agent, playing 9 years, being able to start, my third year. And to be honest, man, I started my rookie year in a game and my second year, and I forgot all about that. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. But to be honest, I wasn't even ready to start. And I wish I was ready, and that's another thing. I would know how to watch film now. I didn't know how to watch film when I was younger to understand the game. So I just went straight off my athletic ability. And you can't do that. It's a mental game. And that's why some of these older guys was able to beat me, in certain plays, and I wasn't able to make certain tackles and stuff like that, Right. But I mean, to look at my career, I mean, it was great. I mean, the one thing that hurt me was injuries. My second year, I was headed to the Pro Bowl, man, on special teams, but I got injured, my 8th game, and didn't finish the season. But again, bounced back my 3rd year, and so I went through a lot of adversity, and I'm proud of the lows that I hit and I just bounced right back. Any low that I hit, I just bounced right back at the highest level. And then nothing really, fazed me. And I wasn't even all the way, as knowledgeable as I am now, so it's just incredible that I did do it, with, not having much experience. I mean, and I'll tell you just the thing about, again, coming from Duquesne, it wasn't an organization, it wasn't a college that like mimicked an NFL type of atmosphere.
Right.
Some of the Michigans and the Ohio States and these big schools, they mimic what you're going to be at in a pro. So it kind of gets them prepared for it. You know what I mean? I wasn't necessarily prepared for it, but I still could hold my own in it. You know what I mean? And I'm just proud of that, to be honest. And then to last 9 years, being me, you know what I mean? Like sometimes I sit back and be like, I don't know how I did it because of the brashness of, me being vocal sometimes at coaches. And I ain't even get into some of them stories, but, I spoke my mind and, you know what I mean? They took it, you know what I mean? And they ain't like it. And, but we got over it. We got through it. And, but that's what happens in the heat of the battle sometimes, heat of the moment. And I just didn't back down from nobody, you know what I mean? And I ain't really care.
I don't think that's a bad thing. You want someone competitive on your team. So you want someone
like that. And that's probably how they saw it too. You know what I mean? Like, damn, we need a guy like that, but again, the last 9 years, I mean, again, in my eyes, I could have played like 13, 14 years, but, having a back injury, my 2011 season, that's what cut my season short there in New England. And I wasn't able to bounce back from that. But just overall looking at it, man, it was a blessing to be able to make it to that level. I mean, it showed my hard work. It showed my dedication. It showed my perseverance. And, it's just to show young kids that, again, man, anything is possible. I mean, people looked at me from Pop Warner to high school to even college. I know people felt like I couldn't make it. I know it. I know people, and I heard people talking. You hear them rumblings, but that always fueled me. And so I just look back and, I always say, man, I had the last laugh, you know what I mean, to those people. And I've reached the pinnacle and can't nobody say nothing,
You can't take that away from you.
Yeah. And that's really what my mindset was as a kid. I was like, once I get to the highest level, ain't nothing nobody can say to me. You know what I mean? Yeah. Tell me now that I ain't good enough. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
So, so I'm just proud of that kid. You know what I mean? I'm proud of that kid and his dream to be fulfilled and not let anything stop him from letting that dream be fulfilled. So you could just always look back and never have regrets in life. And I don't have any regrets.
That's amazing right there, because I agree. Everything I do, I always say I'm going to give it my best. Because the last thing I don't want is reflecting I should have, I could have.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's the worst thing for anything. It's just
right.
Why didn't I give it my all? But if you give it all, and if it doesn't work out, you know what you did. I gave it my all. So I don't
right, exactly.
So
yeah, and it's never gonna be perfect because you go through games and it's like, damn, you watch the film and it's like, damn, I should have did this. Right. But I mean, I'm still proud of what I did, but he was a little better that play. You know what I mean? And it's just, but that's the beautiful thing about just playing football and playing cornerback too, is like once you get beat, you gotta put that past you, and
right.
Yeah, it didn't work out that time, but okay, now refocus back in. But that's every play. That's any player. Again, and that's life too. It's like what happened right there. Like leave it there and let it go. Like Junior Seau, that was one thing, and I was amazed, man, to play with Junior Seau. Man, I used to watch him when I was in middle school, and I got to play with this dude. But he used to always say, "Next play, buddy." You know what I mean? So like whenever he messed up like that was like a running like kind of joke that he used to always say, like his whole damn career, I guess. He was just like, "Next play, buddy." Even though if he mess up, so what? Like he don't care. Yeah. He gonna go make the next play. So that's just the mentality that you just gotta have.
That's why he's a legend, bro. That's why he's a legend.
Yeah, legend, man.
Playing corner, man. Like everyone loves corners. Like to me, that's like one of the coolest positions. That and like receivers, right? That's like the sexy position. You want to be that guy. You want to be that shutdown. You played against a lot of good players. So as a follow-on, as like reflecting back, who was the toughest guy to defend? You probably don't want to admit who was tough, but like, because you're a pretty decent corner, but like, who was a hard one? Or
absolutely, man. It's Chad, obviously.
Yeah.
Ochocinco, Chad Johnson, was one of the best like comeback runners. Like he could run a comeback, and you don't know if he's running a go or a comeback. And I'm telling you, Tom Brady. Listen, two people. When I went to Detroit, Roy Williams, a wide receiver, asked me about. He was like, "Man, how the hell do you cover that guy, man? His comebacks is crazy." Then I went to New England, and then Chad, if you remember, Chad came to New England. Tom, he even said it. He was like, "Man, anytime we got a comeback, I'm gonna throw it to him because like his comebacks is like crazy because you don't know if he's gonna go or come back. So he get out of them breaks crazy. But so he was tough to cover. Man, Andre Johnson was always a tough cover that I tell to people about. Randy Moss, obviously a tough cover. Man, it was a lot, man. Even some guys like Jimmy Smith. Like he was tough to me because he was just so good at the line. Like he didn't even like have a great game against me or anything, but it was just like I couldn't get my hands on him like I wanted to, Right. And I remember he was like a 13-year vet, and I was like, man, I'm about to kill this dude, But he was like so crafty. Derek Mason was like so crafty too, because one year I had to play in a slot, and like I was a different position for me. So he was really good and crafty in there. Wes Welker was really crafty too, hard to take down as far as when he got the ball in his hands. So I mean, it's a ton, man. I mean, so it was always, I was up for those challenges though. I just couldn't wait to play against those top tier receivers because it's like that's going to show what kind of cornerback I am, And if I get respect from one of the best, then what does that make me, what I'm saying? Absolutely. So that makes me, I consider myself one of the best if I could check one of the best and get respect from one of the best. So, those are the guys that I feel that come in my head and pop in my head that, were really tough covers.
Those are great names, man. I remember every single one of them, and they were all unique in different ways. So I can't imagine guard them these days. If I had to guard those guys, I'd be livid. But
it was tough.
A big reason why I love speaking to someone like you, who's literally, started from someone else, just hungry. Again, undrafted, went to Duquesne, a smaller Division I school, played for Leigh for 9 years, which is amazing. So you've seen it all, but what I love even more is after playing is what you've learned, what you observed, and what you're now doing. So for you, you're still in the area, the DMV, doing a lot of back for the community. I know you had a few gyms in the DC area, do football camps, you coach. I met you at a community event about a month ago. But how's life been after football?
Man, life has been beautiful, to be honest. I know it's a crazy transition for guys because, again, you've been playing this sport pretty much your whole life, and then it ends. A lot of people get to, do what they love or have a career, and it lasts, for 20, 30 years. But ours, it's a short window. And so you are done. And I was done at 30 years old.
You're a young man.
So
young.
Yeah, as a young man, so I felt like I needed some time though to, just relax. And you put your body through a lot those, again, 20 years playing football, like pretty much nonstop. And then 9 grueling seasons, training camp. So I just wanted to take some time and just relax and travel. So I did a lot of traveling. And the reason why I was able to travel and do all these things, because I saved my money, while I was in the league. But I traveled, figuring out, what I want to do next, if I want to do anything. So then health was a big reason why I did open up some gyms, because I wanted to put a cost-effective or just a gym that didn't cost a lot of money for, people that don't have a lot of money, but I wanted to give them a great facility to be in.
Right.
for a low cost. So that's why I did that. Always did things for the community. Like you said, I did, scholarships for my high school, gave money to their weight room. Always, and I went to go coach as well at, one of those underserved high schools, and just lend my time, lend my expertise, lend my wisdom to the youth and help them grow and, be a better, person, you know what I mean? Again, because if I had somebody like myself giving me some wisdom, giving me some knowledge in different fields or just in life, I would have, been even better in my career. So that's what I just try to give back. You know what I mean? Really, it's just really giving back my wisdom, my knowledge, and my time to help the next young kid just grow and be a better person.
I love that, man. And again, going back to what I mentioned earlier, that's the big reason why I put this together is there's a lot of folks who are talented, but for me, talent's nothing if you don't use it the right way or if you don't use it in general. But I think just having someone like you that's been through it, you're sharing your story, this can motivate those folks that, when you're not doing well on a team, if your team's not doing well, don't give up. These are things you gotta be, don't be so caught up in the moment where, I got this, I'll be good the rest of my career. Like you said, one thing that really stood out with me, which you just mentioned, is you saved your money. I always try to remind myself and people around me, it's not how much you make, it's how much you save. So, you got to think long-term too. So I love that, man. Appreciate that. That's big reason why I put this together. As we kind of wrap things up and talk about things after football and what you're doing now, I know something that's a big aspiration for you and a passion right now is that you're running for PG County, Prince George's County executive. You're running for that. Can you talk about that journey? What inspired you? And for those folks that don't know what a county executive is, can you maybe share about that?
Yeah, man. Crazy thing is, I was just talking to my boy Cliff Averill, man. He played with me in Detroit, and he became a Super Bowl champion in Seattle. Man, what prompted me to run, man? To be honest, I got arrested. And then treated like an animal, by the police, by the people that were, in the jail that I went to. And PG County is a predominantly Black county.
Right.
And I'm getting treated like this by Black people, and I'm not even really doing nothing. And I got not falsely, but I didn't break any law. It was over a mask. The times that we're in, but they have medical exemptions in Maryland, and I expressed that to the establishment, LA Fitness. I had already had an issue with them. They called the cops. I let them know beforehand. And then, this other instance, another cop came. He didn't want to hear it. He was ready to tase me. And then they hit me with trespassing. So the guy just, what did he do? He terminated my contract right then and there. To say that now I broke a law to arrest me, and so they were just doing, crazy things to just get me out of there, for no reason. And I was within the Maryland mandate, all of that. They just didn't want me in there, treat me like that. So then I go to jail. They shackle me, hands and feet. They cussing at me, and it was just crazy, man. They didn't do my paperwork. They held my paperwork. It was crazy. So, and so I'm sitting in there thinking, how can I, make a difference? How can I stop this from happening to people? If it's happening to somebody like me, what's happening to other people that don't have this money or don't have people to, look out for them and this and that. And then seeing how they treat other people in the jail, it was just ridiculous. So that prompted me, right? So, and what a county executive does is, they make laws, they make rules, they decide on where the money goes in the county. And I feel like the money isn't allocated right. I think it needs to mostly go in education. And I was raised in Prince George's County schools, and it's the same. It's been when I was 10 years old, so that's 91, it's the same. You got people still moving out of the county because of school systems, because they don't want their kids going to school, or people are spending their money to go to private schools. This is your already tax dollars, and PG County is one of the highest property tax counties in Maryland. It's no way our schools don't reflect, like our income. And again, PG County is one of the richest Black counties, the top 3 right now, probably in America.
Right.
Our schools don't reflect that. And so the money should be allocated to the schools, to our kids, to our future, because that's going to better help, small businesses, being entrepreneurs, and big businesses. It's big businesses. It's going to let and allow them to be better citizens, better people, if we spend our money on their education, and get better programming, change the curriculums, things like that, change the grading scales, let these kids be competitive going into colleges. So I think those are the 2 big reasons why I ran, was because of that. Obviously, being a minority in this country, and in the way Blacks have been treated, like it has to start with us. People always say it has to start with us. So this is a predominantly Black county, and it's highly populated with Hispanics too, and that's and it's diverse too, but that's a minority. They're minorities,
right.
and so we got to look out for each other. And I feel like we got to treat each other better, and we got to give back to our youth. That's going to better the future. So that's I say all that to say those are the reasons why I'm running, and I want to make a change and make a difference in kids' lives, people's lives, and the community that I was raised in, pretty much.
That's inspiring, man. And I'm glad you are. I did not know the background of it, which is why I asked. Everyone always has a reason, but I think for you, very personal. But I think it's very cool. You're being from that area. You definitely have the ties there. So I think the best leaders are the people that's from there. They know the ins and outs. They know the people. So that's I can't wait for you to get elected, man. I'm throwing it out there. It's not when or if, it's gonna happen. So looking forward to seeing that, and just knowing who you are, bro. Just being outspoken, everything you've been through in life. You've been through. You've made it to the very top. You've been from the area where it's pretty rough. Like, you're gonna do well, man. I can't wait to see it.
Yeah, man, I appreciate it. Yeah, and another reason, and I don't even know if I spoke about this, because education-wise, like my son, right, he had issues in PG County schools. Again, I made a lot of money, so I was able to send my kids to private schools. But then I was like, you know what? I started having problems in private schools, because of certain things that I didn't like. So then I was like, you know what? I grew up in public school, Prince George's County. Like, if I can make it, my kids can make it. But my son went through the same thing, and teachers making up grades for him, and like, picking on him. And I don't know if it was because of they knew who I was, or what, I mean, who knows? But then I took it to the highest level. I'm like not superintendent, but I'm talking to people in Prince George's County, like the school system. I'm having meetings with them, and they're just backing these teachers, and these teachers have nothing to back. Like, they were giving my son grades. They had no paper of what his grades were. And they allowed it. They allowed it. And so what I had to do the next quarter, so he didn't make honor roll, and he had made honor roll his whole life. Got to PG County. This is what these people did to him, and was like beating him down daily too. And that second quarter, what I did, and his mom, we stayed on top. We said, y'all better email us every paper, and we want a grade behind it, and we're gonna keep track of the grades. And guess what happened? He got honor roll that next quarter, right? And then the teacher, I don't know if they do this in where you're from in Virginia, or you hand out when you get the like honor roll, like assembly, you hand out who got honor roll. The teacher didn't even hand my son his honor roll thing. In the whole, she gave the whole class, whoever had honor roll, but him. And it's like, why are you doing that to my son? So he overcame that. But it's like, it's no way, kid. and I'm sure this is happening to other kids. It ain't just my kid, I'm sure. You know what I mean? But if it is, that's wrong. But other kids, my son was telling me other kids was going through that too. But a lot of times parents don't have the time to fight that fight. You know what I mean?
Right.
And I fought the fight and I still lost. You know what I mean? But I still had to stay on top of these teachers. But it's like people shouldn't go through that.
No, absolutely.
You know what I mean? So I just wanted to put that out there too, because that was in my mind. That was another reason why, again, education was so big on my heart. And it's other instances too that my son went through. And it's like, I know other kids are going through this. And it's like, we got to be able to, fight, because the kids don't have no union. Like teachers have a union. The kids don't have nobody to fight for them, but their parents. And then sometimes that doesn't get heard because, again, mine wasn't heard, to be honest. I had to sit up here and damn near hold the teachers accountable. You know what I mean? With giving grades and assignments and showing your grading scale and it's up to par where it needs to be. And so again, it just needs to be a better system in which our kids are being in, because again, that system isn't going to produce, great people in the community.
Right. Exactly.
You know what I'm saying? So that's why it's important to me, man.
It starts with the youth and with that's the education system. That's what starts their life, their journey. Not only with their family, but it starts there. So if you don't have that good foundation, it's gonna be tough.
It's gonna be tough.
I'm glad you're doing that, brother. That's awesome. Aside from that, any closing remarks, or what are some things like what's next aside from county executive? What else is next for you? What's coming up?
Nah, man. I mean, who knows, brother? Win or lose. I really win in the end, at the end of the day. But what I am working on, like you said, I mean, behind me is a, map of the world and a few pictures. Like I told you, man, I have a project in Tanzania that I'm still working on. I bought land there, finalizing the drawings of, what, my place is going to look like there. And then, next year, I'm sure, again, win, loser was no draw, but win or lose, I'm still going to go to Africa and, pick out some or talk to some architects that are going to build, and hopefully I start building, by the end of next year, and have a vacation home, man. Again, I retired at 30 and I never looked for a vacation spot. So, I found one, and now, I'm gonna build a, nice vacation home to go and relax and spend, nature time with nature.
Absolutely. Hey, it's never too late. It's as long as you do it, and that's what you're doing. So that's awesome to hear. Well, hey man, I appreciate your time. Sorry if I took a little bit, but really enjoyed talking.
Man.
That was awesome. It was awesome hearing about your football story, but also more importantly, what are you doing now and the great things that you're doing for the community. So thank you for all that you do. Appreciate it.
Thank you, Lynn. I appreciate your time, brother.